the Sri Lankan government made every effort to keep international partners informed of what they were planning and what they were doing in the Vani Theatre. Along with that geopolitical partnership that was built, I want to say that the Sri Lankan military itself prepared extensively. I would say 10 years ago, when I spoke to Army, Navy, Air Force officers, I didn't see in their eyes the same determination and the same intellectual capabilities that the officers that spoke in these two panels had. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the police, the intelligence services, the quality of those officers vastly improved. Tremendous improvement. And I think with that came the emphasis on training, retraining. While operations were continuing, they did what you call model training. Thorough preparation, thorough rehearsals, thorough surveillance, reconnaissance of those targets. That itself was 50% the battle won. So I think the quality of the soldier, the quality of the officer vastly improved. And even the pool of intelligence, Sri Lanka was able to develop the high-grade, high-quality intelligence. There was a special emphasis on developing that quality of intelligence. Not only technical intelligence capabilities, SIGINT, COMINT, IMINT, but also the human source penetration capability was vast. The third most important lesson, and I'm going to speak to you very frankly because I'm not a Sri Lankan government official, is that the Americans failed miserably in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I myself traveled twice to Iraq and twice to Afghanistan. Dr. David K. Collins, who was the counterinsurgency advisor to Condoleezza Rice, the Secretary of State, traveled much more because he was the principal counterinsurgency advisor to General Petraeus in Iraq and in Afghanistan. But I want to say that I myself visited and worked with the US military both in Iraq and in Afghanistan. But the Americans had an effects-based warfare. They had shock and awe. I think that the Sri Lankan experience clearly demonstrates that our military had a different strategy. We had a more comprehensive strategy. And that comprehensive strategy is still continuing. So Sri Lanka rapidly recovered from that phase of war into a phase of peace. How did they do that? In a very short time, they resettled 280,000 people. I saw the publicity. Some media personnel said that there were concentration camps. I myself visited those welfare centers, spent time. I visited the rehabilitation centers, spent time. I said that I had food with those detainees. I spent Christmas Day in 2009 with those detainees. They became my sons and my daughters, my brothers and my sisters, my fathers and my mothers. I said that we ate the same food that the soldiers ate. So I want to share with you that there was a very rapid movement from an environment of conflict into an environment of peace. And that was accomplished because the Sri Lankan military, even when the ATT was controlling the Vani region, continued to send food supplies, continued to send other material, school books, sent teachers. As the government agent from Jaffna, who was the government agent before Mullatiu, said, there was a continuous pipeline that was functional. So there was some effort, but already the systems were in place. I also want to say that that particular approach, a very humane approach of treating those hardcore detainees, those terrorists who went and killed, maimed, attacked villagers, set bombs in Colombo and in the south, they transformed. I watched that transformation. And I think that there was a humane approach. And that is something that is inbuilt in the Sri Lankan people. Whether they are from the south, from the north, from the east or the west, we are very ready to forgive. So 6,000 LTT cadres who killed, maimed and injured others have been released. All the children have been released. And I have no doubt that those children who have been put to school, including to a very prestigious school in Colombo, they will become doctors, they will become engineers, they will become scientists, they will become accountants, they will become farmers. So in my opinion, we have treated those who have fought us as brothers and our sisters. And they suffered a lot. All those detainees, more than 40% said, I was forcibly taken to the LTT. There was one boy from Kilinochchi, he told me that he was a scout and his dream was to become a presidential scout. But he said, the LTT forcibly recruited me. So I want to say that one of the principal reasons 11,500 cadres surrendered, they were not willing to kill and die, was because they did not join the LTT voluntarily. They were forcibly recruited. That is why I want to urge Secretary of Defense, who said in his outstanding opening address that most of these cadres have been released, but there will be a group of hardcore cadres that will be prosecuted. I ask him to reconsider his words. It is because Sri Lanka has already established a gold standard in terrorist rehabilitation. Vivek Oberoi came from India. He danced with those LTT girls and those LTT boys. And I think that it clearly demonstrated that we can always give everyone a second life. We have all made mistakes. None of us are perfect. And certainly the conditions of war drove some people to join terrorist and extremist groups.